First one. Это джинсы, которые
The first real prototype, and it will be.
Yeah.
Wow, it's new and clean.
It's not painted. It's not painted yet, but.
Yeah. So this one's pretty much almost ready.
It's not a typical, you know,
Oh yeah, it's got the back window and everything. Awesome.
So we're just going to take a little tour of the interior of the newer prototype. He said 4 seats, really nice seats, pretty cool. They just got to make a few adjustments. Like I said, it's one of the first drives of this newer prototype, so everything is laid out so nice. Really nice heavy duty switches.
Yeah, it's not panelized. It's no.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So what's the difference for the airing up the tires and stuff like that?
That's probably all very similar, I bet. Like I looked in the back of the trailer and all the 2-inch lines going into each tire were there. And
As I understood, this will be different system, so it will be automatic valves.
oh, okay.
So you can, in case something happens, you can switch off one valve.
Oh, yeah.
Disconnect one
Yes,
tire from the
yeah.
system.
And keep going with 9 tires. Oh, yeah, very smart.
What's that right there, that little switch underneath the seat?
That's like a battery shut up, master battery shut off.
Battery master switch.
Yeah, super cool. So yeah, and they're gonna come out with a multi-camera system, so maybe cameras mounted on the side too, so you have a really good vision through your different monitors of what's beside you, what's behind you. Yeah, this new one here is just like really finished and covered and comfortable and quiet, and so I'll get these adjustments done and then we'll take this sucker for a rip. I was just explaining they've got switches, those switches back there where you can manually close off valves. So say you're out in the middle of nowhere and you totally slice a tire wide open, you can actually shut off the valve to that tire, and so it can just come along for the ride, and you still got 9 by 10 wheel drive. So and they have one for each set, so conceivably you could blow all sorts of tires and just shut them off and keep on going, so it doesn't affect the rest of the system. So lots of really cool thought goes into all the systems to be able to, they've taken this thing all across Russia, like through Siberia. I can't remember what it was, like 10,000 or 20,000 kilometers, something really crazy. They set a world record anyways for land from the easternmost tip to the westernmost tip of Russia. It's such a big freaking country. So yeah, so lots of thought goes into being able to take a vehicle out into the backcountry, and what if, lots of what ifs. What if this happens? Well, let's build a system that can deal with that, and you can keep on trucking. So that's one of the coolest things about Sherp. So we'll get a look at one of the early prototypes wagon there. So there's all the air system to each set of tires, and then a main drive shaft comes out of the front drive, out of the front motor, and then drives an axle, which is obviously connected to each set of tires. So that front drive shaft goes out into these things here. These are sealed oil baths, and that's where the chains are to drive each of the 2 rear axles. So I was just kind of wondering there, I didn't really see any chains. They're not exposed, obviously, so you could get all kinds of crud and stuff in here, or throw all kinds of cargo on and stuff, and it doesn't affect the chains. They're in these sealed side compartments here. So that's a nice thing too. You never have to worry about oil in your chains as they're in an oil bath. So that's kind of a real cool idea. So I was just asking about these tires here, how they seem so worn down, but they manually cut them. That's why it's so evenly cut, because if they were worn, they'd be really low in the middle and then they would come out higher on the edge. But they manually cut them just for testing to see how the, you know, obviously how it affects performance and stuff with them cut down so much, simulating, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of hours maybe. So yeah, I was kind of curious. I was thinking maybe the 10x10 was just that much harder on tires, but no, these are actually cut down just so they could kind of test with them. So, and they're on here obviously because they're still all testing. So a new 10x10 I'm sure would have 10 new tires obviously. So I was just curious, so I asked. So, and maybe I thought you guys would be curious too. So right on. Awesome. They're opening the back of the new one here to see if there's any differences. Oh, another fuel tank, which is freaking cool, so you can carry a lot more fuel, and obviously just everything a lot more finished and a lot more closed in. And they got like a rail tracks for tying cargo down. I'm sure that floor sits in kind of covers up all this stuff, or else maybe not. Maybe you can throw stuff all in those compartments there. So yeah, very cool to see, you know, from one iteration to the next. That'd be like version whatever, 1 or 2. This is maybe version 3 or 4. So pretty freaking cool. So again, the side chains would be in those side compartments for the other 2 rear axles. But yeah, that's awesome. That's super cool. It's like super heavy duty latches and mechanism, flat floor. Yes. Yeah. And then those tubs you could put tools or whatever, kind of like in the Sherp there is now. Awesome. And extra fuel tank, or is this oil for?
It's fuel tank.
Oh yeah,
it's the main fuel tank.
Oh, the main one. Oh wow,
Yeah.
to put weight back
Yes,
in the back.
yes,
Oh yeah,
yes.
very
It's
good
the
idea.
main fuel tank, and
Gotcha.
then second one in first section.
Oh, okay. It's 2 fuel tanks. Oh, cool. Very neat. Man, it's the coolest learning about all this stuff, man. So neat. Okay, so he's gonna do a little demo of the newer 10x10 here. Mrs. Ostacruiser in the back. They took out the seats and stuff when they were doing some work. Holy cow. Mrs. Austin's probably like, holy smokes. Yeah, I think the hydraulics are a lot stronger on this newer model. Being the 10x10 is not skid steer, you know, it offers a lot of advantages. The way it steers with the hydraulics there, you never lose traction when steering. So think about going in the mountains in snow. That's the only issue we had, was steering, right? Every time you steer, you lose half your traction. Whereas the way this 10x10 steers, you have 10 tires going all the time. So think of what you could get through. Think of the load you could carry on that trailer. I can't remember what he said. It was something like 3 tons, capable of carrying 3 tons. Insane. Oh, he's pumping up the tires. That is freaking awesome. Excuse me.
Alright, what are we doing?
We're driving 10 by 10. So this is like a early prototype, and then that's a more finished one. So we're gonna try to drive that one after. Drive this one first. It's gonna take us to a real swampy area. Check it out.
Rear gear.
Backwards? Where's backwards?
This is a long trailer you got going on there. There's the finished prototype.
Oh, there we go.
Oh yeah. See, we need some mirrors on the Sherp so you can see where you're going.
Drive over all these trees.
What do you mean? They drove over the trees. That's the whole purpose.
You really feel like you're operating a big piece of equipment with this baby, that's for sure. It is freaking awesome. Oh, keep going.
You need a big area to turn this rig around.
That's okay.
Forward now?
Yes. On the road and left.
Okay. Oh, that was a very smooth shift. said you can carry up to 18 people. This way, over here, and then up. Yeah.
My anaconda don't want none unless you got fun, son.
That's it, yeah.
мало места развернуться.
It's not enough space
Okay.
to turn.
No.
No, reverse.
One there, but it said no. Not yet.
you think about that, $35,000 in rubber, 10 tires. So the new prototype, they don't have it quite all waterproof, so we wanted to take a cruise in the river, so we're taking the older prototype. Got some muck, mud and stuff in here. Can you imagine you could throw a deck, I don't know how long this thing is, 10, 12, 14 feet long, throw a deck up here, go cruising around the lake. These guys are like, what the heck? So yeah, the 10x10, like I said, I was talking about earlier, that everything is different. Like the steering is hydraulic, so you have all 10 tires turning all the time. And then of course you can control your how your cab sits in the water too. Even this way you can control. Frick, I don't know if it's always like this in Ukraine, but the last 3 days have been like plus 30 and freaking gorgeous every freaking day. Beautiful. He's trying to clean off his mirror. Yeah, that's one thing with the side mirrors. They get decked pretty easy by trees and branches and stuff. There we go. Give her some RPM. It's funny how smooth that is. So it has disc brakes, and on a normal Sherp that would be for steering, but this is just, it's for brakes. This is frickin' wild, boys. This is Austin riding shotgun. We may have forgot to put the bolt plug in. Obviously that's where a little bit of this slew water came in. But I think with a cargo carrying capacity of 3 tons we'll be okay. The other Sherp loaded up, headed back. Perfect.